Justin, can you give us any big news, good news about potential debutants, Liam Henry?
At this stage, is going to be an emergency. It looks like we're hopefully only going to make one change, and that's Trav out and Sonny in. So that's where it sits at this moment.
How close is he? Obviously, it's his emergency, and you probably really want to play him, but I guess your winning form is hard to make too many changes.
Yeah, that's it. It's it's a good position to be in. We've got guys that are pushing for selection, and the guys in the side are holding their place, and that's what winning form does. So it's hard to make too many changes when our performances have been so consistent and even. And Liam's in really good form. He's clearly got a lot of talent, and his intensity into the defensive side of his game is really lifted, and he's pushing his case. But there's just not a position at the moment.
No Jesse Hogan, that means. Can you talk to us about why he's not in here?
Well, it's been well documented that we've been playing him back the last 2 weeks at training and in the reserves last week, and there's not a spot for him in the back line at the moment. That doesn't mean we won't play him forward in the future. Doesn't mean he's solely going to be a back for us. It just means at the moment he's just adding a string to his bow, and something that in the long term will help him as a footballer, but also help our flexibility as a team. So there's, like Liam, there's not a spot for Jesse at the moment. He's going to have to work his way into the side, and we've just been so even the last 2 weeks that it makes changes hard.
So Jesse is fit?
Yeah, he's fit. He's been fully training the last 2 weeks. And like I just said, he's got to earn his way back into the side.
Have you got a Resi's game against Carlton, or will he play back again?
Yeah, we're going to have a hit out against Carlton tomorrow. It looks like at this stage it'll be about 12v12. He'll play back for a period of the game, and like I said, it's not that he's not going to turn into a defender. In the long term for us, it's about adding strings to his bow, and if a place opens up in our back line next week, he's going to be a chance to come in. But doesn't mean he's not going to play as a forward for us, so he'll split his time tomorrow, more than likely.
So you really have to impress you guys as a defender in that scratchy to force his way in?
Yeah, well, absolutely. And it's about, forcing someone out of the side. I mean, back seven last 3 weeks, we've conceded the least points in the AFL. So it's hard to mix with that, the chemistry of those guys and the performance of those guys at the moment. So, he's going to have to earn his way in, and it's not just an easy thing either. Just to say, I'm going to be a back now, and I'm going to walk straight in and play AFL footy. Well, we'll play to a system. I think that system's really holding us in good stead, and he's got to learn that. And his performance was pretty good against the Hawthorn reserves last week, given the way Hawthorn were moving the ball into their forward line. And he held up pretty well and did some really pleasing, promising things. So he's not far off, but he's just got a few things to tidy up, and he's got to force one of the others out of the side.
Forward-wise, is it a case of you can't just bring him in for anyone because you worry about going in too big?
As a forward, he's going to have to get back there and train there a little bit, and that's probably why we're going to split his time tomorrow in the reserves game. And the forecast looks like it's going to be wet again. So playing 3 talls down there is probably not the best mix for our tall-small balance. And like I said, we've been so consistent the last couple of weeks and across the 22 that it's taken an injury for someone and Sonny Walters to come back to force someone out of the side.
Did you ever imagine when you took over the job you'd be in this situation where Jesse Hogan's unable to force his way back in the team?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's what good clubs do. It's always got to be good players out of the team, and I've said it plenty of times. The injuries this year has given us the opportunity to play guys and add to our depth, and that's good clubs have depth. Good clubs have good players out of the side trying to work their way into it. That puts pressure on guys in the side to execute their role and maintain their form.
Can you shed any light on how Jesse's coping with that challenge?
With me, personally, he's been very good. The the thing that I've noticed with Jesse since he's come back to the club is he's willing to have tough conversations. I spent a lot of time with him this week going through where he sits in the team, and he's taken that feedback on board. He's really motivated to become to add to his game. I've seen him in there with the coaches, going through vision, working on areas that he can get better at. So from my point of view, it's been really good.
Just on your midfield, just how they went the last couple of weeks without Michael Walters tempt you to play him forward more now?
Yeah, he'll split his time still, and we see him adding something to our midfield. But still, we're probably lacking that final. The final bit to our game is finishing off our good work in the midfield, and we got the ball in our forward line a bit more last week, but we just didn't hit the scoreboard enough. So I think he adds a lot of polish, and him and Fifey will split their time.
Just need to clone Walters and you'll be right.
Yeah. There's a few of those guys in the AFL teams would like to clone and have a few more of, but I feel like our mix in the midfield has been getting it done the last couple of weeks, and that's creating more opportunities for our forwards. So I think Fifey's really adapted to playing more forward. I've loved his attitude towards that challenge, and Sonny's no different.
Justin, I'm sure you had confidence in your coaching before you got the top job, but now that you're really starting to see the system click, starting to put some wins together, does it feel good personally to know, look, I definitely can do this. We're on the right track?
My faith hasn't grown in the last couple of weeks. It's been there all year, to be honest. And our system's been there all year. I think the thing that's happened the last couple of weeks is we've got our contest work going a bit more, and our consistency across the board has been much stronger. When we're introducing a new system and players are learning new roles, it doesn't come second nature. And I feel like the last couple of weeks they've gone out with a real clear mind, and that has aided our consistency and within games, and we've seen our system hold up for longer the last couple of weeks. But the challenge comes now of 2 good wins, short break, all those challenges come, and that's what I'm excited about at the moment. Is can we hold up under those distractions, and can we maintain that edge after 2 wins? Because it's easier after 2 losses.
Can you play finals? That was probably the first time you've been asked that as a coach. The finals there?
Oh, look, we haven't. We're a long way behind the 8 ball. So those questions come, and that's our challenge as a coaching group and a playing group to maintain our focus through these questions, and that's the challenge this week, is to maintain that edge, maintain our commitment to each other and roles, and maintain our eye on the process. So what will happen at the end of the year will happen, but we need to maintain our focus right now.
What's the latest with Joel Hamling's situation?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because my latest with Joel is that he's really keen to get back to the club. He's getting his COVID test today to come back to the club next week. He's attending, a surgeon review with our medicos today. So, with all my dealings and with all Bally's dealings with Joel, it's been largely positive and largely pointed to the fact that he can't wait to get back to the club. So, that's as honest as I can be.
You as a player, had a lot of injury frustrations, particularly towards the end of your career. You can see how someone with Joel's horrid year that he's had can get frustrated though with the process, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's the worst spot to be as is being injured in AFL. You feel distant from the group. The team's going well at the moment, and you don't feel a part of it. I fully understand that angle of it, and Alex Pearce has gone through that. All our injured players are going through that and would have their dark moments. It's just that's the worst part of being an AFL footballer. It really is. So we need to wrap our arms around those guys, give them support, show them a path back into the team and into playing AFL football. And I think Joel's at a bit of a stalemate at the moment with that. And we'll get him back to the club, get him around the boys, and making him feel a part of it again, because he's probably lacked that the last couple of weeks.
But you're 100% confident he'll be here next week, or whenever he can be here with them?
Absolutely. Yeah, well, that's our indications from Joel. So I can only go on his words.
What are the chances that you get him back next year as the great player that he used to be?
Oh, it's hard for me to say that. to call that at the moment. We're clearly going through some issues with his ankle. We're having some setbacks with that. But I see him playing round 1 next year and fully fit and being the great defender he is.
Do you think it was managed well, the process? I mean, a couple of surgeries didn't go well. There's an infection. It could have been done better.
Oh, possibly. I hope so. Hopefully we'll review it and hopefully there's some things we can improve on, because it hasn't been a great situation for him, and he has had a lot of setbacks. But the thing we need to take into consideration is that this is a horrible injury that he had. He dislocated his ankle, which is, it's a serious injury. So when you have those types of injuries, sometimes you have some mishaps along the way with your recovery. So we'll review it. We'll look to get better from it, and make sure we make amendments if there's amendments to be made.
Where's Sam Sturt at?
Yeah, Sturdy went in, had surgery yesterday, and he ended up having an operation similar to Hayden Young's operation. So it looks like he'll be done for the year, I would imagine, or close to. And it's really disappointing. Like he injured it at training before the Saints game, and it's come up a lot worse than what we first anticipated. So it didn't heal like we thought it would, and he's ended up having the surgery he's had on the back of that. So we'll rehab him, get him back next year, and give him a good pre-season and start again with him.
And Blake Acres, is he fit and available?
Well, he had a caught calf after the Geelong game that ended up being a strained calf, and he's recovered now, so he'll enter full training next week, and I suppose earn his way back into the side, much like Jesse and Liam and a few of the other guys that are out of the side at the moment.
And just on the back of these injury questions, have you got the numbers to keep pushing through with resi scratch matches, or are you thinking of maybe just taking a smaller squad up north?
Oh, we're still throwing that around. I don't think on the short turnarounds we'll have reserves games anyway. So we'll work that out with our rehab group and our players as to how many we take. We're still working through that. But we've got numbers. We've got more numbers this week than what we had last week, with a few guys returning. So we feel pretty confident that we'll have numbers to compete. It's just whether those games will happen, given we might be on 4, 5, 6 day breaks.
Just one on Cairns. Excited to head back to North Queensland this time and hub again. Yeah,
I think it will be another great opportunity to get away. It'll be a different challenge this time, back end of the year. Thought we handled it well last time, and it's going to throw up a different challenge of playing games on short turnaround, which is going to excite a lot of players on our list because it's going to create a lot of opportunities. So that part of it really excites me, yeah.